You've led across continents, across cultures, across complexities, from the French Armed Forces. I went researching you, so you were a soldier at the time.
That's right.
Now two boardrooms across Europe, now in Nigeria. You're starting one of Nigeria's most iconic companies, an 80-year-old iconic company. So quite a journey, isn't it? But before the boardrooms and the balance sheet, I would really like to know what your career arc has been like. What has shaped you the most? The military discipline or the corporate transformation role? Or perhaps if there's a common thread.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So first, thanks for having me, Nancy. I'm very happy that we have this conversation. I think everything shaped me in a career that was not a planned career. Because actually, I didn't initially thought about becoming an officer in the French army. It came because I was in Cameroon at that time. I'm the oldest of 6, and for family reasons also I had to, find something that was suitable with the budget and finance of my parents. And it was convenient to go to the military academy. So, and then my career went from opportunity to opportunity, mostly following leaders, I have to say. What I learned was, each of these experiences actually shaped me in a different way. I loved my time in the army because you really learn very young how to lead a team in very complex circumstances. So I was 24 years old when I was in the middle of, close to Brazil, in the middle of Amazonia, alone with a 30-people team. This shaped me in terms of, how do you bring the team together? How do you align them? How do you keep them motivated? How do you navigate through all the threats that we were facing? But I loved it. It really shaped me as a person. And then I had several managing director roles. I was very lucky to start with the first small business where I could learn how to be a managing director. Indeed, the transformation role that I had in Europe was a pivotal one. Because Europe is 25 different markets. It was a huge transformation where you don't have a kind of direct hierarchy link with the people. So you need to influence, you need to convince, you need to make sure that people follow you in a very high-space transformation. So this really helped me to understand how to drive change management and also influence and convince in a multicultural environment, because Europe, it's 25 countries for us with big differences between the East, the West, the North, the South. And now finally, then I became the MD of Romania, that I liked very much. Fantastic country, big opportunity. We were not leaders in this market, we were number 2 actually. So the ambition was a bit different. And now finally I feel in a way a bit at home because Nigeria, it's a very warm culture. Nigerian Breweries, as you said, it's an iconic company here. So I'm extremely excited and proud also to be the managing director of Nigerian Breweries.
How would you describe yourself as a leader? Coming from this background, what is your philosophy as a leader?
My philosophy?
Yes.
So first, I think I was very lucky because I'm not a kind of typical French first. Because I was born in France, but I lived abroad. So I lived in Turkey, in Romania, in Australia, in Brazil, in Spain, in Cameroon, and then I came back to France. So I grew up outside of France. So this shaped me as a person, and I think it shaped me also as a leader. My philosophy, I don't know how to define it, but what I can say is I'm good at creating a safe environment for the organization and for the teams, while stretching the teams, the people. And I think the team can confirm, but in a safe environment. And this actually leads to growth. And it's the combination of, safe environment and high expectations. This allows growth in a healthy way.
So would it be right for me to say you're the let's move now kind of CEO, or the calm and calculated CEO? Guys, let's do it now. Which one of it is it? Calm, calculated? Let's move now, guys.
I think a bit of both, because you need both. You cannot do only
You need
move now,
both.
specifically with the size of a company like Nigerian Breweries. It's a huge company that has a huge impact in Nigeria and in the industry, so it has to be also calm and calculated. But we operate in fast consumers, moving consumer goods. So it means that things needs to go fast. The market goes fast, consumers changes fast, so we need to be super reactive. And bigger the organization is, usually slower it is. So I'm also pushing a lot to get to the right level of speed.
What surprised you the most when you arrived here after working in Europe?
First, I would say that the complexity of the market. In Europe, the countries are more unified in a way. Nigeria, it's like a country of countries. Huh? So this was a bit of a surprise for me, with of course, the north versus the east and the west, but also every single state you have different tribes, different cultures, different way of showing up, different way of dressing up, etc. So different music, different dances. So this diversity is really impressive compared to what I experienced in other European countries, I would say.
Nigerian consumers they are resilient, we're expressive, we are brand conscious, we're also price sensitive,
Yes.
I must say. What have you learned about the consumers in Nigeria that are different from other Heineken markets? And how do you balance perhaps global best practices with local realities?
Thanks. That's a good and complex question. So, because there are many questions in your question. So first, on consumers, I think there's a combination also, because of the diversity of the country, of different trends. So you have global trends that you can see here in Nigeria, and then you have very specific local trends. So let me use these two to illustrate what I want to say. 20% of the population is actually behaving in a way like consumers in Western Europe or in the US, because they can afford the products, and they go from beer to spirits and to mixology. So there's a lot of trends that you see outside of Nigeria that you actually see within these 20% of the population. And we're running actually a study also to get deeper knowledge in terms of their habits and their consumers' preference. But this is, for us, it requires a bit of adaptation. We have the portfolio for this. But on the hand side, we have 80% of the population, to your point, that can barely afford a beer. So for these 80%, that is a lot. Huh? We need to find also within our portfolio the right proposition, so they can enjoy also our happiness, what we're proposing to the market. But in the world, you see these two big trends. You see markets that are very mature, where beer is a bit, under pressure. You could see this in the global figures, moving towards different expectations in terms of experiences. And then you have another big trend that is affordability trend that you can see also in other markets, like in India. It's a bit the same.
Let's talk about leadership in the high energy markets like Nigeria. Nigerians move fast. In the last few years, and perhaps even since you came, inflation has been furious, and that has also impacted the pattern of consumerism in Nigeria. Though it's moderating now, we're also seeing that consumers perhaps even move the fastest. How has Nigeria's pace influenced how you lead Nigerian Breweries Plc?
Again, good question. For me, there's two big steps ahead of us. One is reacting to the tailwinds of the crisis that we experience as an industry and as a country. Because indeed, price had to go up, hyperinflation, disposable income under pressure. So this had put a lot of pressure on the industry, on our industry. So the market of the beer industry declined in the last years. So we have to react to this, and this is everything that we're doing in terms of revenue margin growth and how we approach our pricing for this year. and for the coming years. That's the short term. The long term is, I think for us, understanding back to my 20% and 80%, how these two big groups of consumers are going to evolve in the future, and how we respond with our portfolio. We're extremely lucky because our portfolio is actually relevant for every single Nigerian. If you're 5 years old, you can drink a fantastic Maltina, you have high malt, we have a lot of products. And then you can enjoy beers. We have all kind of proposition, from international beers to local brewed beers. They're all brewed, actually. All our portfolio is produced here, but beer, then we have indeed, as we were discussing before, our distilled portfolio. So now we have wines, we have spirits, and we also have CSDs, carbonated soft drinks, we have energy drinks. So we have a very large portfolio. The question is, do we need such a large portfolio? And what are the brands that are the most relevant for our consumers, knowing that we need to play with the trend for the 20% of the population that will like, maybe healthier consumption experience, but also taste profile expectations that are a bit different with flavored beers. And the rest of the population that will like, if I take the north of Nigeria, 110 million people, they have completely different taste profile and expectations. So the long-term answer is a more complex answer. We didn't crack it yet, but we're working with the team on this for, I think mid of this year we'll have clarity.
You took over at a very pivotal time when macroeconomic headwinds, like I mentioned earlier on, the industry hasn't had the easiest few years so far. We've seen inflation, though is moderating now. FX volatility, though is stable now. The consumer affordability pressures, our palettes are changing. Yet your recent full year results show signs of a rebound. Your full year financials are coming in at, I saw 1.46 trillion naira, just a little over 1 trillion naira. So that's a massive rebound. What do the numbers really tell us?
What I said to the investors also was, it is a turnaround year, but we're still in recovery mode. So if you pile a bit the onion and you look at the figures, indeed, revenue are grow big time in 2025. Profit is back. Cash flow is again positive. So that's also, it says something about how we drove the business. But our return earnings are still negative. So we're not able yet to pay dividend. So it means that, there's still a bit of work to do. So what enabled us actually to deliver this result and this turnaround? I think it's maybe three things. One is the organization, and my predecessor and the previous management team also did a fantastic job in choosing the battles, being extremely focused on what was needed to do this turnaround. I think this is the first thing. And the alignment of the organization behind was absolutely amazing. So Nigerian Breweries as a collective, as a team, did fantastic. So it's not only leadership decision, it's a collective effort from people in the brewery to sales, to the head office team, logistics team, the marketing. Everybody really worked on behind the right priorities. The second component, I think, is linked to the smart pricing and the smart approach to revenue margin growth that really helped us. That's, I think, one of the big contributors of 2025. The last one is the cost management efficiency. I think we've been extremely good in keeping our cost levels at the right level, making the right choices, reinvesting the savings also behind the right priorities. So the combination of these three, I think, explains a big part of it. The last component, that is maybe more external factors, is indeed macroeconomic indicators that were much better than what was expected. This really helped us after very high inflation, the FX pressure that we had. I think this is really, it helped us. Now, as I said to the investors, it's still recovery year. The volumes are still down. So this is the market, even though we're doing much better than the market. However, the pressure on the industry is still here. And we still have a lot to do if we want to protect ourselves from a future crisis.
Are you optimistic that this could be the beginning of a new growth cycle?
Yes, very. I think Nigerians are optimistic. overall.
Tell me about it, yes.
So
we're very optimistic
that's
people.
the first thing. First, you need to have people that believe that it's possible. And what impressed me in Nigeria is that they believe that everything is possible. So the level of can-do mindset that we have in Nigeria is amazing, and I think in Nigerian breweries even more. So that's the first element. Now, on the more business side, first I think we reviewed our long-term vision, and it's really shaped about, and it's very aligned with Heineken Evergreen 2030, around growth, productivity, and future fit. But the number one priority is growth. Because at the end of the day, it's our responsibility as Nigerian breweries in Nigeria to turn around the market's growth. We're a big part of this market. We were the first one in Nigeria. We were the first one to open the brewery that is here. We built it. It was the first brewery built in Nigeria. The first brand that was launched in Nigeria was actually and produced here. It's a Star brand. So our responsibility with our size is actually to turn this market back to growth, and this is our responsibility as for the industry. And we've been here for 80 years. I was saying this. Our role is to continue to contribute to Nigeria and to the communities in the next 80 years. So this makes me, I feel the responsibility of it. I think the team is also behind this. The last component is the way the team is focused on the three big priorities that we defined, that I was mentioning, but also the way we allocated our resources this year, the cross-functional efforts that we're making to deliver this growth, the very precise plans that we have also with our distributors and customers. We made a lot of changes also to support them to make sure that they benefit from this growth. It really makes me very confident. Now, what I don't control, and I discovered that in Nigeria, you need to be prepared. I don't control the macroeconomic environment. So there's a lot of things that are moving around. So directionally, I think things will happen, growth will happen. Also with the finance team and part of other departments, we're working on how to protect ourselves on the financial perspective. So a future crisis, FX, devaluation, whatever happens, for us to be really protected from this. And we have good plans, so we're already making progress.
What culture are you intentionally building at Nigerian breweries here? And how do you blend Heineken's global DNA with an 80-year-old Nigerian heritage? How?
So, let me start by saying that I think the culture can evolve, but shouldn't be transformed. We've been here for 80 years for a good reason. I think Nigerian Breweries is a pioneering company. We're the first one, as I was mentioning. I'll give you an example. When the ban of barley came in, we invented the sorghum recipe that is locally produced. So
you went local.
Exactly. So we're doing this more and more. But what I'm saying is we know how to adapt, and we know how to innovate. All these brands, most of the brands are local brands, and they've been invented here in Nigeria. So I think the culture of pioneers and the culture of winning and the culture of performance is already in the DNA of Nigerian breweries. And the culture you're mentioning, happiness and joy, etc., that's 100% Nigeria. But even more in Nigerian breweries, I really feel that it's part of our DNA. So the point I'm making is, it has to be an evolution, but it shouldn't be a full transformation because we don't need it. The company is already a very good company. The people working in Nigerian breweries are fantastic people, very committed, and with a great knowledge. So I don't think there's a revolution. Now, the culture of performance can still improve. Because in the market where you have this volatility, with the ambition that we have, culture of performance, the speed of execution, the alignment between departments, this still requires, some shifts. But we want to do this, and we're doing it step by step without breaking what makes us, caring and a very people-focused organization.
When you are navigating such an environment, it comes with high performance, just like you said. And you mentioned also at the beginning that you you look at high performance, you stretch, but while keeping it safe. So high performance comes with pressure. How do you ensure that your people feel safe? That safety you were talking about, while still being stretched. I'm interested in that part.
So I think it's not or, I think it's and. So you reward performance and behavior. It has to go together.
Okay.
Because you cannot overperform without behaving, and the other way around doesn't work. Because there's different lenses to this.
Yeah.
First, it starts with the leadership. So for me, the way I do it is always, we start with the management team. So the executive team of Nigerian Breweries needs to lead by example. So it starts with how people are behaving on a day-to-day basis with their teams. It starts with us. So the first thing that we did actually as a team when I joined and when new members of the management team joined was to sit down and to define how we want to act as a team. What are our values? How do we want to lead the company? And are we aligned with this safe plus stretch so people can grow? So it starts with the top and then with the leadership team, the team 100. So I think it's really about how leaders are behaving and driving performance. Now your question was also how do you create this safe environment? I said about leaders. I think there's also an element of transparency. How transparent are we also in the feedback, in the career evolution? How honest and open are we also to receive feedback? So there's an element of leadership being transparent, but the organization being transparent, able to talk. In Nigerian culture that is also sometimes very hierarchical, it's not always easy, but step by step I can feel it in the organization that people are more and more comfortable to open up, to share their ideas, etc. And then it depends how you respond. So if you have a negative feedback and then you don't want to hear it, people will take it, and then this is going to damage the culture. But if you take it, if someone is challenging you, that I like very much when I have someone challenging me, I'm super happy, because it means that now I'm hearing the real truth that I don't hear usually in the boardroom.
In the boardrooms.
So that's it takes a while, but it starts with the people and how people behave, and it starts with me leading by example. And then the stretch, I think it's linked to our ambition. So it's not a stretch for a stretch. It's not pushing people for pushing people. It's just because we believe that we have a responsibility in this market and that Nigerian Breweries deserves to be here for the next 80 years. And to do this, there's a lot of work to be done.
The beverage industry is changing and is evolving very fast. You're seeing the concept of living well, the health consciousness, the premiumization, all evolving. What are the biggest innovations, opportunities right now that perhaps you're looking at?
The question of innovation is a good one, because innovating for me doesn't make sense. We already have a very rich portfolio. So if you don't want to consume alcohol, we have a large portfolio that is very healthy. If you take Maltina as a brand, drinking one Maltina is the equivalent of drinking half a glass of milk. So the nutrition, it's even in the label on calcium, it's very high. So it's a very healthy product. So we have already the proposition to respond to this demand, the specific one that you're talking about. The other part of the answer is also that we're in the beer industry. Beer industry is really low alcohol, and it's actually a very natural product, recipe. It's very natural. So it's low alcohol, and I think it responds very well to the demand. The consumers are also asking, and the new consumers. You have Desperados is growing 22%. So Desperados is a very good brand, very appealing for Gen Z. We had last December a huge event in Ikeja. I think 5,000 or 4,000 something Gen Z coming in to experience Desperados. So we have very compelling brands, and that are exactly meeting their expectations in terms of looking good and feeling good and etc.
Let's talk about AI. What possibilities do you see for AI? Because we're in the fourth industrial revolution. Are you thinking along that pathway? Is the industry really prepared for the digital disruption? And how do you see it impacting you?
Yeah. So my thought about AI is the following. I think we need to look at it with interest, but also being a bit cautious.
Cautious, yeah.
Cautious because we don't know yet. We don't know what is the impact. nobody really thinks about this technological revolution before it happens. So the thinking comes always after, and this is always a bit worrying for me because this has huge consequences on, way of living, way of working, etc. So this is why I think we need to be cautious, but we need to look at the opportunities. Actually, in Nigerian Breweries, we're already using AI. We already have agents. My D&T team is so. It's sometimes a very small application, but it's a very efficient one. We're working on other projects also for our customers. So the question is for me, what do you select as opportunities that really make sense and for which you have the right return on investments? Because with AI, you can also spend a lot of money for sometimes very little impact. This is also why you see a lot of capitals going back, to other industries because people wonder if it's worth investing. So I'm not saying that it's not worth investing. I'm saying that we need to have very selective resource allocation to AI if it really makes sense. We're starting, and I like the test and learn kind of approach. So we're starting small, we see if it works, and the magic with AI also, it learns, right? It grows, it gets better. So this is why starting small is a good approach.
Beyond beverages, what impact have you had in Nigerian communities in the last 30 years? I know you've had partnerships around perhaps culture, sports, social impact and all of that. I would like you to speak more on how it helps strengthen your brand and legacy, even as you look to the next 80 years.
So there's a lot of different dimensions to how we support our communities. Let me maybe choose two examples. I can maybe talk about Maltina Teacher of the Year. That is one, I experienced this last year. I like it very much, not because it's linked to Maltina, but because it's linked to education. And if you want to grow a country, you need to start by education. And our contribution, it's 11 years, if I'm not mistaken, that we've been supporting education in Nigeria. I want to accelerate this program. We're already discussing this with the team because this is a way to contribute to the country in a different way and to communities and the right way for the future. The second one is we're also, we're producing everything here in Nigeria. We would like also to source as much as possible from Nigeria. So we're doing a localization production program to try to produce locally what we're importing today. Barley is 100%. Barley is not 100% produced here, where sorghum is. So my supply chain director is today in the north looking at this and working with the farmers. I'm going there in 2 weeks' time also. So this is also a way to contribute to the Nigerian economy and to the communities by building, a new industry or supporting a new industry. And I use these two ones because they're pretty far from our core business, but they have huge impacts on the society and on the communities.
What does it mean to you personally and to this organization? How are you and your colleagues approaching your 80th, birthday, anniversary?
So let me start with me personally. It feels first a huge honor to join Nigerian Breweries because you always come after other leaders. So I'm here because a lot of other leaders run this company before me. So I feel a huge responsibility now to carry on the company for the future and to make sure that we're building the right strategy for the next 80 years. So that on the personal side, it's a bit emotional also to join Nigeria. It's an iconic company in Nigeria, but it's also an iconic company in Heineken. It's it was one of the biggest, and it's still one of the biggest of Heineken as a company. Now for the team, I don't want to reveal anything, but I can tell you something that this is going to be a big year for Nigerian Breweries. We're going to celebrate it as we should. We want to, give justice to the 80 years of history.
Of legacy.
Of legacy and of building this industry in Nigeria, serving communities, because we've been here, and this is the strategy also of Heineken, is when you go into a country, you want to make good business, but you also want to contribute to the country and to the communities. And I think Nigerian breweries, beyond selling beers and malt and the rest of our portfolio, we contributed a lot, not only to the economy, but also to the local communities. Because with our footprint, you have here the map, we're everywhere in Nigeria. So yeah, we want to celebrate this legacy in the proper way. But the biggest contribution that we want to make for this 80 years anniversary is turning the volumes back to growth. This would be the biggest celebration that we could.
When you look at the next decade, what excites you the most about Nigerian breweries?
The potential. So the potential of this company. And I mean it, because I think people deserve it, and the history of Nigerian breweries deserves, us to continue to lead these markets, to innovate in the markets, but also to grow the markets. The potential is huge. You have 30 million people in Nigeria. It's going to be the third biggest country in the world in 2050. So the potential it's absolutely huge. Our job now is to make sure that we have the right portfolio, the right partners, the right customers, the right route to markets to make sure that we capture this potential.
Finally, what would you like your legacy to be?
Growth.
Growth. Thibaut, nice speaking with you.
Thank you.